In today's show, the Trailblazers kick off a road trip by eking out a small ball win in Chicago. Plus, Oregon gets one step closer to securing the future of the Trailblazers in Portland. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's program, we're talking about the Blazers eking out a win. 121-112 on the road in Chicago to kick off a 5-game road swing. Plus, the Blazers, we'll talk about all of that, about that game. We'll talk about crunch time, who was on the court, who wasn't, what happened in the fourth quarter to make a game that looked like it was going to be a fairly comfortable win, a close one. Get into all of that. Plus, the Blazers, or I should say the state of Oregon, got closer to securing the future of the Trailblazers in Portland. Updates on the arena bill as we continue to track the legislative session in Salem. Let's get into it, starting with our fastest recap in the West. Blazers win 121-112 in Chicago. Donovan Clingan pops up on the injury report with a illness. He does not play in the game, but the Blazers' two other centers, Rob Williams, back in the lineup after missing a couple games with a sore right foot. I think that's really good news for Rob that he was able to play, and he played very well. Young Hansen also was available on the active list but did not play. No surprise there. Blazers are going to lean into small ball. The Bulls are incredibly small as well. It was not a game where Hansen was very likely to play, but it is good news that at least he was available if needed, and he's obviously on the road trip if they need him. Bulls, shorthanded in their own right. Old friend Anthony Simons, who came over the trade deadline from Chicago Bulls, not available. Other old friend, Zach Collins, in his natural habitat on the injured list. Jaden Ivey, Pat Williams, they're missing guys. Pat Williams is not very good, and Jaden Ivey's barely been a Bull, but they're shorthanded. Mostly they traded away a bunch of players in order to only acquire shooting guards at the trade deadline. So the Bulls, they had lost 10 in a row and 11 of 13 coming into this game. They're kind of leaning into not being very good, and after at long last, but this is Portland in shorthanded in its own right with no Denny Avdia and obviously no Shaedon Sharpe. You're not, I think, you'd say the Blazers are probably better than this version of the Bulls, but you got to go prove it, and you got to go prove it on the road. And because of the way this particular Chicago lineup is situated, neither team really starts with a center. Effectively, the Bulls are starting Gershon Yabusele at center, and the Blazers say, cool, we'll start, depends on who you think the center is, Toumani Camara or Chris Murray at center. Quite a look, quite a small ball look from both sides, and the Bulls and Blazers played even first quarter, 34-32 after one against Chicago. But importantly, Scoot Henderson is in that starting lineup for that even first quarter, but then he immediately picks up two fouls. I thought his first foul of the game was second foul of the game was just stupid, just like aggressive reach when they don't need him. Stay on the court, like you want guys to play hard, but you don't want them to play stupid. And picking up dumb fouls 5 minutes into the game, so it limits how much you can participate, is a bummer, and Scoot limited how much he could participate. He finally gets his first start of the season. Finally, he hasn't played that many games. He gets his first start of the season. They haven't started him for 2 years. Why cry now? He started 11 games in 2 seasons, y'all. But he gets into the lineup, and then it didn't even last half a quarter before he has to go to the bench. Blazers, though, they kind of figure it out in the second quarter. The offense starts humming a little bit, at least. They don't make shots, but they stop turning the ball over. Just one turnover in the second quarter. Jeremy Grant 16 in the quarter thanks to 8 free throws. Jeremy Grant taking a long stride and a hang dribble and getting his long arms caught up in your arms as you try to block his shot when he is taking those long, slow down strides. He's good at drawing fouls there. It's not very aesthetically pleasing. It's not my favorite style to watch. Even among people who draw fouls, it's not my favorite style to watch. Give me Denny Avdia just bowling over people and like playing a version of the sport that was illegal for several decades, and certainly in my lifetime, doing things that were just like straight up hey, that's a foul. Nope, not anymore. Not the modern NBA. Denny's allowed to plow over them. I find that more aesthetically pleasing than the sort of Jeremy Grant slow throw your arms fall down game, but it's been effective for him. Gets 8 free throws in the second quarter. That's huge. Is easy points. That's good money. Also in the second quarter, Tumani had a sick dunk. Blazers get a steal, a run out on the break, and Tumani is the trail man. Drew Holiday pitches it back to him, and he just cocks one back right-handed. Boom, a big dunk. It really speaks to Tumani's ambidexterity that dunk in transition is a right-handed dunk for a left-handed guy. He goes right a lot when he's around the rim. He is comfortable with both hands, but if you're comfortable with that dunk right-handed, that is it speaks to he's very, 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 very ambidextrous when he gets around the rim. Might even be better with his right hand around the rim. Rob Williams came off the bench in this game. I thought he had a really nice second quarter. I thought Matisse had a really nice second quarter. I thought those guys, Matisse's whole stretch from the end of the first to the second quarter, I thought his first half stretch, like that really energized the Blazers, and they get out to a 7-point lead at halftime. And then it looked like for a brief period in that third quarter, they were going to pull away. It took them a little while, but the back half of the third quarter, they built a double-digit lead. But they just couldn't make shots. 2 of 16 from 3 in the third, and they didn't get to the free throw line. They took just 4 free throws in the third. Jeremy on his own took 4 in the second quarter. The Blazers took 8 in the second quarter. The Blazers took 4 total in the third. But the Bulls had 8 turnovers. Like, this game could have been a blowout if the Blazers make a couple more jumpers, or twos. Like, they didn't shoot particularly well on twos either. But if they make a couple more jump shots, the door was open for them to like turn this into a blowout. And then early in the third quarter, opening 3 minutes of the fourth, they go into the fourth quarter 93-85. They're up 8. They're led by as many as 11 in the third. But first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, it looks like they are going to blow the game open. Blake Wesley hits a couple free throws. Blazers are up 15 with 9 minutes left. And then they would go 7 minutes without making a shot. From the 9:02 mark to the 1:57 mark, the Blazers go 0 of 13. 0 of 7 on twos, 0 of 6 on threes. They got to the free throw line on 2 separate occasions, and they went 3 of 4 at the stripe. Those are their 3 points over the course of 7 minutes without a field goal in the fourth quarter. 7 minutes. We'll talk about that in a little bit in a second at length. But like, the offense just completely dries up. It just goes away. Bulls rip off a 15-3 run during that stretch. Blazers had a couple turnovers there, but like one of them was not a live ball turnover, it was a travel on Scoot. And so like, it's not like you're giving up runouts. You're just not getting a shot off, and you're missing all your shots you take. And all of a sudden, it's a 3-point game, and it's 108-105. Leonard Miller gets a dunk off of a little run out for the Bulls. Jeremy Grant misses a mid-ranger, and Bulls, Montes Pizzel's rebound. They run. Leonard Miller gets a dunk. It's a 3-point game with 3 minutes left, and it's getting dicey, right? It's like a little over 3.5 minutes left. It is. The Blazers are from up 15 to a chance of just blowing it in a game that would really feel like they blew it. Not like, hey, they just like they blew it. This is not a good Bulls team, and you had this game in control, and all of a sudden it's in the balance. The Bulls actually get the ball back on down 3 on 2 separate occasions and miss shots inside. One from Trey Jones and one from Nick Richards, and either of those baskets, near the rim and in the paint, they would have cut it to 1. Instead, they don't, and the Blazers go the other way and have a chance to kind of, with 2.5 minutes left, get a big bucket to make it a 2-possession game. First, they kind of dribble around and do nothing. The ball doesn't move. They run a screen, doesn't get anywhere, can't get downhill. Drew Holiday gets, City Sissoko gets an offensive rebound off a Drew Holiday missed 3, and Drew Holiday kind of dribbles to the middle of the court, draws a little bit of attention, patiently kicks out to Jeremy Grant, who hits a 3-pointer when the Bulls defense just like pulled in a little too far. They pulled in a little too far, kick out to Jeremy Grant, easy 3, Blazers are up 6, Bulls miss, and Blazers push, and Drew Holiday kind of waits, and Chris Murray keeps cutting. Bulls defense never finds him. Nice little nifty pass from Drew to Chris for a dunk. They're back up 8 with about a minute 30 left. Bulls take a timeout and get a layup from Trey Jones. Blazers bench screaming like Trey Jones is going to keep it. You can hear it on the broadcast. Lamar Hurd pointed it out in the broadcast, but you could hear it like on TV. Like they're yelling, keep, which means that Trey Jones is going to fake a handoff and keep the ball. He does and gets a layup. 6-point game. Blazers get, there's a minute and 20 seconds left. 6-point lead with a minute 20 seconds left. You need a score to win. And they do. They hold the ball, run clock, which I like, get it down, get it as far down as you can. You just want to have seconds tick away at this point, particularly when you can't score. You might as well run clock because if, it's the clock is going to be more valuable than your ability to just brick jumpers. And that's what they've been doing. Of course, Drew Holiday does that. They run clock and he bricks a jumper, but another offensive rebound, kick out to Drew and he drives baseline and hits a tough step back, 18, 19 footer from like the deep left baseline. Makes it an 18-point game, 115-107 with 52 seconds left. Bulls have to play the foul game, and the Blazers make enough free throws to thwart any further drama. Blazers win 121-112. That's your fastest recap in the West. Did it take 11 minutes? It did. Is that the entire first segment of the show? It is. Let's talk about crunch time in the second segment. Join me there, won't you? Because there's a lot to unpack from the way the Blazers closed and chose to close this game. Join me in the second segment. We will get into all of it. First, though, I want to tell you that today's program is brought to you by DoorDash. The NBA season is in full swing. It's the stretch run, and DoorDash has a way to keep you and all of your fellow fans in their bag the whole way through. Whether you're watching highlights, whether you're checking out tunnel fits, your favorite players, or your favorite fighting pinwheels, DoorDash makes the entire NBA season more fun because every player has their bag, and with DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. Look, there's going to be nights when the fighting pinwheels stress you out, so you can let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you need dessert right now. Maybe you need a little bit of some snacks delivered to your door to get you through the fourth quarter. DoorDash can do that too. Or if one of your friends is always the type of person who never has a phone charger, well, you can order phone chargers, cups, plates, whatever you need, all of that right there via the DoorDash app. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season and through the game delivered right to your door. DoorDash in your bag all season long. All right. Thanks for making this show your first listen. If you are living that everyday lifestyle, go join the Locked On Everydayer Club. For $5 a month or $50 a year, you can get access to the ad-free version of this podcast, Locked On Blazers with no interruptions, plus access to the members-only Discord. If you'd been in the members-only Discord last night, very late at night, you would have heard from me telling you in that very Discord channel, in our little chat, like, hey, y'all, I've had a tough work day. I'm not going to record till tomorrow, so you would have had a heads up that this one was coming in late. That's the magic of joining the Everydayer Club, is you get a little inside info, and you get to talk directly with me. So go join the club. Link in the show notes. It's lockedonblazers.supercast.com. Okay, let's talk about crunch time. So I think that stretch from the 9-minute mark to the 2-minute mark, 9:02 to 1:57, if you really want to get to the box score, but into the play-by-play, I guess. But 9 minutes to 2 minutes. 0 of 13, 0 of 6. The first little bit, the bench is on the court, right? It's Rob and Vit Krejci and Blake Wesley and Scoot and then they cycle back in their starters. Okay, let's get Drew on the floor. Let's get our guys back out there. Let's get Jeremy back in and Tumani back in, and They take Scoot out with about 5 minutes left, and he doesn't play in crunch time. So he plays about half of that stretch where they just absolutely could not score and let Chicago back in the game. I mentioned in a previous episode that I didn't care really whether Scoot started, and that I would only whine if he didn't play in close games at crunch time, because what is the point? And then he did start, and then he didn't play crunch time, and it's like, how did they do this to me? They threaded the perfect needle of doing the thing that I think doesn't matter too much, and then specifically doing the thing that I think is the biggest deal, playing at the end of games. Let me keep it real though, because I am not like a I'm not blind to the situation. I want to be honest about my analysis because each game is unique. Well, I do think the larger process of just like not having Scoot out there to fail when it matters can come into question. He was not very good in this game. He was not very good in this game. I thought he just couldn't figure out his change of pace at all. Struggled shooting 0 of 5 from 3. He was fine inside the arc, 6 of 7, but didn't get to the free throw line, which has been the mark of his better games. This wasn't a crazy turnover game from Scoot, just 2 in his 24 minutes. The fouls early were a problem, but after the first 5 minutes, he only committed 1 foul the rest of the game. I felt like it was a game where Scoot was holding down the turbo button. He was just driving into guys' chests. He was driving into, I'm going to get past you, except he wasn't able to turn the corner, and then he's driving into kind of tougher positions and just like not. I don't think he had his best playmaking game. Now, he made some nice plays that guys didn't finish, and he made some nice sort of like the passes that could have opened up opportunities, but, it's like you're passing it to guys maybe like Sidi Sissoko and Chris Murray who aren't going to create. And a lot of this is like, Jeremy Grant had a good shooting night. He had 27 to lead the way, and he had 14 free throws, and he made 3 or 4 threes. But like Chris Murray goes 0 of 5 from 3. Drew Holiday goes 0 of 7 from 3. That's tough. Scoot 0 of 5 from 3. That's tough. Blazers go 10 of 46 overall from 3. Like it's just, they struggled to shoot. So while I think I don't agree with the overall process that says, "Hey, Scoot Henderson's going to sit." Like I think I don't. I think you leave him out there because why? At this stage, this is the final stretch of Scoot Henderson's career. It appears where he can just be given minutes, right? Where they can just truly just say, "Hey, sink or swim, buddy." And they chose to go the other way. I get it, right? Like, I get it. They go back to Chris Murray. They go back to this bigger lineup. Chris Murray's going to be a better defensive player. He's going to make less mistakes on defense. He's going to rebound. He's strong. Lets you play an identity on defense because you can switch and you can play with like pressure and have size all over the court. And Scoot can get a little bit out of position defensively, and he's competitive and strong, but he's not a great like scheme defender because he can get a little lost there. I tell you, like from a coaching perspective, that makes total sense to me. So I'm not going to quibble necessarily with Scoot in this particular instance. It should have been Vit Krejci. I think it's as simple as that. I wouldn't have gone back to Chris Murray. I would have gone with Vit Krejci. Chris Murray's fine, right? I think there's this thing where people like to say with Chris Murray, like, he can do everything but shoot. That's not true, y'all. Don't say that. If that was true, he would be like a young LeBron James or something, right? Like he's pretty limited on offense all the way around. Pretty good cutter, good offensive rebounder, strong, plays hard, doesn't make mistakes on defense, is legitimately a good defensive player. No doubt about it. But on a night when they absolutely could not score, I don't think putting 0 for 5 Scoot Henderson turboing into everywhere is necessarily the move. I would have been fine with it, right? Because again, let him sink. Who cares? And when you get to the fall and Damian Lillard is back and Denny is back and Drew is still on the roster and they're like pushing to be a playoff team. Yeah, then if your young backup point guard can't get it together, sure, don't play him. But this stretch of the season where they're like, where you're talking the difference in finishing in 9th place and 10th place, this is the time to let Scoot fail. But I think it's a defensible choice because of the quality of play he had out on the court in this particular game. My gripe is more big picture than specifics. My specific gripe in this game is that Vit Krejci was good in the first half, legitimately good in the first half, made shots. Vit hasn't been like awesome from 3 as a Blazer, but he had 11 points and hit 3 threes in the first half. He offers the size. Like, he's not as physical as Chris. He's not the rebounder Chris is, but he has a lot more off the bounce game on offense. He has a lot more shooting gravity. So like, there's just like more attention paid to him in a stretch where you just could not score, putting back worst offensive players in there to say, well, we're just going to play to our identity because these are the guys I trust. Doesn't make sense. If you're going to roll with like the team that helps, Vit was the move. He was the move in the crunch time. That was the mistake. as much as I would want it to be like, they're just being mean to Scoot. I don't even think that. I think Scoot was right. I think Scoot ended up on the bench because he wasn't very helpful. Veet would have been more helpful. Because even if he doesn't make shots, the way he moves off the ball and the way he demands a little bit of attention just makes things easier. And because when you don't have Scoot on the floor, you're incredibly reliant on Jrue Holiday to just like create everything. And that's not his best skill set. And quite frankly, it leads to a lot of just Jrue Holiday taking jumpers off the dribble because he can't get by people. At least Veet would open up some off-ball options and give you a little bit of movement to make it a little more some harder choices, right? As guys are flying around. And you do that with Tumani, he didn't shoot. He wasn't in the terrible shooting group, but he did shoot poorly, 2 of 9 from 3. And with Jeremy and Veet and Tumani, you actually have like some guys who are at least league average and shooters, like all spread around the offense, as opposed to like 2 true non-shooters with like Sissoko and Chris. I don't get it. I don't get it. I thought the crunch time choices didn't make any sense because they weren't just, hey, we're playing some sort of like sneaky developmental minutes and we're going to let Scoot fail, or we're going to play the best lineup we can. I thought it is a little hack to be like the coach chose the wrong players. I think it's like the simplest. I think it is often the mark of uninterested analysis, but I do think Veet was the clear choice over Chris there. I really do. Okay. The Blazers are I keep framing this in the wrong direction. The state of Oregon is taking steps necessary to maintain the Trailblazers as part of our community. Let's talk about the latest updates to SB 1501. That's Senate Bill 1501, the arena funding bill. We'll talk about that to close the show because there was a meaningful day in the Oregon State Legislature on Thursday that gets us steps in the right direction towards having the Trailblazers be part of this community, even if we will be footing the bill for it. Join me in the third segment. We'll talk about the arena. First, though, I want to welcome you to the 5-hour energy flavor draft with 15 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. And now the board is set, the flavors are ready, and I've got my number 1 pick for the 5-hour energy flavor draft. It's berry. I'm old school. Give me the classics. It's berry. Give me the traditional big, bold berry flavor, slightly sweet, very fruity. You know it. Familiar. That light, tarty taste that's balanced. Smooth sweetness, not overly sugary. That's the number 1 pick. It's going to get things done. It's a classic mixed berry flavor. It's what 5-hour energy is telling you, notes of raspberry and blackberry. What I know is that it tastes like a 5-hour energy shot. It's that predictability that I crave when I'm looking for a little bit of a boost. But look, there might be sleepers down the rest of the draft. Maybe you're looking for one of these limited time flavors like Fruity Rainbow, like Cotton Candy, like Confetti Craze. Well, whatever you're looking for, you can find your new flavor of 5-hour energy shots available online at 5-hour energy or at Amazon. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. It is the NBA season, and there's nothing better than getting into the arena with your pals, with your loved ones, with a date, with a stranger, with a coworker, whoever you might be joining. You're going to feel the excitement of crunch time basketball, of stretch run basketball in the NBA. Getting tickets, though, used to be a little bit of a hassle. But now, Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast and without that hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. Game Time is super simple to use. First of all upfront pricing, no surprise fees at checkout, but also just the app is super clean. Pull up the app. You want to go to a Blazer game? They're back in 10 days or whatever. Pull up that app. The Moda Center venue pops up on your phone. You're going to see the exact prices they're going to pay at checkout on your phone. You can scroll around the arena to find out your favorite seats. They've got 360 views from your seats, so you can make sure that you know what it's going to look like if you've never sat in that section before. It takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. That's what Game Time does. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today, and remember, it's gametime.co, not gametime.com. Still a pass versus point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. Senate Bill 1501 made it to the Senate Rules Committee, to the floor of the Oregon legislature, and passed on Thursday, February 26, a 4-1 vote. So what is SB 501? It's the bill we've been talking about here on the show a bunch. It is creating the Oregon Arena Fund, which will take public tax dollars, I guess not public tax dollars. It will take tax dollars and allocate them from the general fund to an arena fund that will help eventually renovate the Moda Center and keep the Blazers in Portland. It will end up being about $365 million of reallocated tax funds. These will come from the taxing the folks who do the construction work itself, also the players and Blazers employees, and also visiting players that play at the Moda Center, and future performances at the Moda Center as well. We've talked at length about the structure of the bill, but I think that a couple important things about this bill passing the Senate Rules Committee is not officially on the books yet. This is step one. It will go now to the Ways and Means Committee, and there's not been a scheduled session for that to reach the Ways and Means Committee, but on Thursday, it went through the Rules Committee. There was some public testimony, and it gets through. So part of this bill has a couple additional stipulations. One is, this is just at the state level. This is the state of Oregon's pledging $365 million. That the bill is contingent on the state entering into an agreement with the city of Portland and Multnomah County, which is where Portland is located. Previously, the city of Portland, through Mayor Keith Wilson, said that they would pay about $120 million up front with additional yearly payments into the future, and that Multnomah County had agreed that they would, or had said that they would, committed, I guess is the right word, they would find $88 million on their end to also fund some of this money. So fund some of this up to $600 million, a totally arbitrary number made up by the Trailblazers, and now supported in public in a couple hearings, saying like, this actually isn't a made up number. This is a number we think it will cost. Yeah. Show me the punch list on the construction budget, nerds. This is a totally made up number. It's probably a totally made up number in the right ballpark. Fine, but it's a totally made up number. It has come at a completely arbitrary target. I would say, importantly, with the part of the Portland and Multnomah County commitment, this bill won't pass if there isn't commitment from the city and the county, or two separate entities. Neither this Portland City Council or the Multnomah County Commission, they haven't voted to approve those payments. I don't think that will be the holdup. It could be. But I think if the state gets the first chunk, to the finish line, and you're just waiting, I've said this before, if you're just waiting on local politicians, who on the city council is going to want to be the person whose political career is marked by creating the Virginia Beach Trailblazers or whatever, and who in the county commissioner's office that doesn't obviously have larger sort of political aspirations of being on the state legislature, is going to want to be, marked as the person who made it really hard to make this happen. I will say, sort of broadly speaking, spending $600 million of public money is maybe not super palatable to everyone. In fact, there is a website run by a Blazers fan, Rip City, not Rip Off, that is specifically against, what this level of deal is, and wants to make sure that the negotiations, get back to sort of some equity for the community, right? I do think looking through Rip City, not Rip Off, and I haven't looked deeply at every bit of right, I was going to say content, but that's not what it is. All of their sort of evidence that they've presented, but I will say a quick scan of it, I think a little bit conflates private real estate investment with active benefit for the community. In Utah, in Salt Lake City, they spent all this money on a private entertainment district downtown. Yeah, that's so real estate people can, real estate investors can make a bunch of money. The way the Moda Center is situated, where does the real estate play come in? In fact, where Tom Dundon in Raleigh is renovating, incoming Blazers owner Tom Dundon is renovating the area, the arena where the Hurricanes play in the area immediately around it. He's investing a lot of his own money in the real estate in that area because it's a real estate play. He makes money on the back end. That ain't for you. that isn't public investment. I don't know. Like I would say that this is maybe not a super palatable deal, but I would caution against conflating private investment in real estate plays as some sort of natural public benefit. Those are different things. Not that they can't benefit, but they are not directly beneficial necessarily. And that I think other NBA communities, including most recently Oklahoma City, have committed just a comical amount of public money to build arenas. This is not uncommon in other communities. It is maybe unsavory, and I totally hear you on that, right? There are more important things out there than building an arena, but this is an important thing, and certainly this podcast in some ways exists because of the arena. I don't know. It's kind of just the unfortunate state of things in the way North American professional sports work. So this was step one, Thursday. We've got this bill. Excuse me, I missed an important one here. SB 1501. That is Senate Bill 1501, requires the Blazers to sign a 20-year lease to play at the Moda Center in order for the public financing to move forward. Requires 20-year lease. They should require a 50-year lease. You want my complaint? Lock them in. They're already going, the moment the clock starts on a 20-year lease, the prior lease was 30 years. The moment the clock starts on a 20-year lease, they're going to be planning to bilk the public for more money in 20 years. They're going to say, no, now the arena is now 50 years old. It's untenable. We have to blow this up. And we need more money. Require a 30-year lease. Require a 50-year lease. Push that longer. I don't love this, but it is what it is. They passed the bill. That part to me strikes me as the wackest part of all of this, because I'm kind of resigned to the idea that public money will go to this, because you either play ball or you don't have ball. So the next step for this is that, like I said, it goes into the Ways and Means Committee in the Oregon legislature. The legislative session is 35 days this year. It's a short session, or this spring session. So all of this needs to be resolved by March 8th. It cannot go beyond March 8th. So we are going to get, in the next week, a resolution on what this looks like. A little over a week. But so I think next week is a major week for the future of Portland, the future of the Portland Trailblazers in Portland. I think this is a big step. I think this is the momentum to get forward. It has to be finalized to get it there, but I think it's very fair that to dislike this sort of overall plan. But if you are hoping in general for the team to stay, this is step one. There are steps to come in the future, but this is a big step forward in keeping the team here in Portland, and by the mechanism that is basically the only way they're going to stay here. That is going to do it for today's show. Again, apologies that this one is coming out late. Life gets in the way sometimes, but we still do it 5 days a week. It's what we do. 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts, also on YouTube. We got 5 of them coming the rest of the week. Blazers play a good old-fashioned morning game, breakfast basketball, but a matinee game in afternoon in Charlotte on Saturday. Then they head to Atlanta on Sunday. Next time you hear my voice, we will recap both of those games. I've also got a fun guest lined up for next week. It's what we do 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts, also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I will talk to you soon.